right. Good idea. Okay. This is the August the 8th meeting of the Elizabethtown City Council. If you'd like, please join Tony Bishop. There you are, and leading us in prayer.
Okay. Our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all your blessings. We thank you for watching over us and being with us thus far. We ask that you continue to be with our community, be with those first responders, those who protect us and care for us. And as we go about the things that we do on a daily basis, we ask that you be with those in our community that are sick and shut in, and those who lost loved ones, who send your comforting angel to be around them. We ask that you be with us and lead us and guide us in the things that you would have us to do. In your son's name.
Amen.
Amen.
Join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first on the agenda is discussing Winterberry Trace. Mr. Polk, you want to talk about Winterberry Trace?
We've received a request from property owner at 302 Pinecrest. Pinecrest is in the Rolling Acres subdivision, which is off St. John Road. It was subdivision that was platted and developed in the mid 1950s in the community. Back in the 1990s, we actually took some action in that area to correct some of the street names. Some research found that the street signage did not match up with the old platted names in the subdivision. So the city actually took some action in the 90s to correct and change some street names. And one of the street names that was changed is Winterberry Drive. It's a short street that connects Pinecrest to Hunter's Lane, but it is not totally improved. In fact, of the entire length of the street, I think it's probably only been paved maybe 50 to 75 feet or so. It gives access to two properties, the property at 302 Pinecrest and 101 Winterberry. The folks at Pinecrest own frontage on Pinecrest in their lots. They own a number of lots. They go all the way back to Hunter's Lane, and then they also own two lots in the adjoining subdivision. And so their request is, could we close the section of the street that has not been built that adjoins their two properties? On the handout that you all have, what's highlighted in orange is what the Hardesties own. So the small section would be closer to Hunter's Lane is actually the section that they would like to see closed. So.
Yeah, now Winterberry on the upside where the one house is, it's just pretty much just a drive. For that.
Yeah, it really just
Yeah.
functions as access to the one
Right.
house. I think the Hardesties have a circle drive and part of their driveway comes off of it too, but you're right. It just gives access. That house actually faces that way and has a Winterberry Drive address. The Hardesties house faces Pinecrest.
Ed, you said and in your memo, you said they weren't proposing any additional development.
No,
Yeah,
they own the area. They like to, since it is unimproved, and if you've been out there, it's quite overgrown. They would just combine it with their existing properties. No, they don't have any plans to develop or anything. I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't or they couldn't in the future. It's zoned residential, but they don't have any plans to develop. There is a sewer line that goes down the current right of way. So even if, you all felt it was okay to close the road, we would have to retain, utility easements. And again, because of the easements,
Which would prevent them
that's
from-
gonna limit, some type of development activity. I'm not,
I don't
like I
see-
said, I'm not saying they wouldn't reconfigure or they couldn't, but I mean, it would be
It
limited.
took me a little while to catch up when I was trying to orient myself to this, but the purple area that you scratched down,
That is the section that they want to close, because what's highlighted in orange is what they own, so that would be, and it's
No.
unimproved. I mean, like I said, if you went out there today,
All grown up.
it's tree,
Pine trees in front of it.
you would drive down Hunter's Lane and you would not know
That was.
where I'm talking about, because it's all overgrown. So,
I think it's a good idea.
I see no
I don't see a
negative
problem with it at all.
impact.
as we've done with other folks, what we will do then is we will continue to work with them. They will have to sign a consent form. They will have to pay all the expenses to have their property replatted and prepare descriptions and all those kind of things. So it won't, there won't be any cost.
They
on
know
it.
about the utility easement that they have
Yes,
to grant?
yeah, I've met with them and talked with them a couple times
Okay.
and worked through some different ideas with them and stuff.
It's good.
Good deal.
Thanks, Ed.
Deal.
Thanks, Ed. Scott?
Thanks, Mayor. Just want to let you all know, we advertised for the, we're doing something a little different on the Freeman Lake barn. We're trying to sell that old barn and have somebody come in and buy the barn wood from us and demolish that barn instead of asking for a demolition permit. So wanted to bring that to you all, let you know that's going on. We've given them till August, just had it 18th to give us a price for that. And hopefully they'll take the barn down for us and pay us before they start taking it down. We've contacted a couple of people getting ready for this and meeting somebody in the morning out there and hopefully a couple more.
Scotty, is there any value to the wood on the barn that will be?
There is, and that's why we decided to try to sell it instead of just demolishing it, because we feel there's plenty of people that like that old barn wood will take that opportunity to buy it from the city.
People lost some barnwood on some barns, understand?
Yeah.
So just to let y'all know what we're doing on that.
this summer.
We're giving them, I think, 30 or 45 days to get it off our
So
property.
maybe this fall.
Yes, sir.
So what are you gonna do with all the stuff in it?
That's up to Seth. I hate to throw Seth, I'd hate to put Seth and Terry on the, but that's, yeah. No, I think we've got the barn, the newer one in the back. We're gonna move some stuff there. Obviously keep the kayaks and canoes as close as we can until it gets cold enough to stop using them, but
You be keeping the ducks out there?
I'm trying to get them in the barn before we get rid of it.
Oh, that's bad.
Well, we can try.
We talked and we think it'll be a whole lot like, when at your house, if you decide to, move some things, you see a lot of things that you've stored that you could do without.
Yes.
Don't you think that maybe when we get started with this, there'll be some things we can, so we won't need so much storage, maybe.
And then obviously we'll be coming back to y'all with a design for a new storage facility after we
That's
get
right.
this one out of the way.
Bigger and better.
Yes. All right, thank you all.
Sounds good. Thanks, Scott. Okay, Scott, Seth?
About all the items you don't need.
There you go.
Basically, what's going around is a proposal that we've received for the Lincoln Heritage House and Cabin. We've reached out last year in the budget cycle. There was about $20,000 that we had allotted, not really knowing what it would take to get the cabin back to where it needs to be. There's a lot of issues, and as you flip through, there's some pictures that are attached just to show the issues that we have with the chinking, some boards and things that are rotting out. And we've got a lot of rodents and different things that are entering into the cabin. And, needless to say, it's a mess. But we've got some issues there that if we want this cabin to be, I guess, resurrected back to its former glory, that we'll have to address. So basically, we've reached out, and this is a project that Terry Shadone has taken under his wing and reached out to about half a dozen people, not really knowing who specializes in this sort of construction. We've received this proposal back. So it gives us kind of a starting point on what kind of dollar amount, what kind of money that we're looking at to take care of and address some of these issues. So it's a starting point. As you all know, after the cabin burnt down, it was the city invested a lot of money to bring it back. Some of the items that were done at that time and addressed were probably not the right materials. For instance, the chinking that's in there, it is literally, you can just peel it off. You poke your hand through it. It's really soft. So there's some issues there that definitely need to be addressed. I guess what I'm coming to you all for is if it's the, if it's something that the council wants us to look at further and investigate more, maybe put out a bid, we would be more than willing to do that. Or is this something that, we want, that we're looking at just kind of keeping the way that it is, because it's just going to get worse and worse if it sits the way that it is. And it's kind of an appropriate time, I guess, to talk about it, because we're talking about removing the barn and a new office space and all of that out there. So I just wanted to bring some information, preliminary information to you all. I know that this is a site too that a lot of entities within the city advertise because it's a historical landmark. So some of these things that, that we use to maybe attract some people into our area. And we do have people from time to time that go specifically to the lake to look at the cabin and take pictures and different things like that. So again, this is just preliminary information. We can dive as deep into this project as you all would prefer. And I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you all have about it.
I have a question. How long ago was it when we had the fire?
It was 2009 when we had the fire. And then I believe we did work in 2010.
So that work has only lasted until now?
Right. And one of the things one of the worst part about it is the chinking that's in the building. And one of the things that we've heard is it's the wrong type of chinking. It's a synthetic type of chinking, which does not last. And some of the things that I've learned over time, Terry might be able to answer some of these questions a little better than me because he's really looked into this project. Our joints between the logs are about 9 inches. Synthetic's good for a smaller joint. So that material that's in there actually probably shouldn't be that type of material.
Is this the same guy that because at one time I thought there was only one person we could find.
This isn't the same
Georgetown or
person that did the work before. This
You
is
said it is the same.
It's not.
It's not, no.
It's not. Another example is some of the boards and things or logs. The way they're designed, like the drip edge on the side is actually holding water where it should be shedding water. So those are some of the things that this company kind of came back and said, little things like that over the course of 6 years have really taken its toll.
What kind of warranty do we get or anything like that? I mean, do we get, are they saying that we should get out of this?
Do you remember, you were here then,
Yes.
Ron was here, you were here, I was here, and there was a lot of research done to get a real specialist.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And it was a lot of money, and he was, oh my gosh. Right. And this has lasted no time, and now you're talking about another over $49,000.
Right. Well, I can't answer to that before because I wasn't here. I know that it's not the same person. So when they looked at the work, they're like, these materials shouldn't have been used. So
Seth, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't want to say that I'm absolutely sure, but I remember, as the mayor said, when we went through this the last time, and the gentleman that did it was the only one that we could find. And he was very specific. He didn't give any guarantee or anything, but he was very specific at our time. But if I'm not mistaken, we did talk with this antique, American Antique, and at that time, I don't think Mr. Mills was interested the best I remember.
Right.
I don't think this gentleman was interested when we did it the last time.
The one thing I will say about this company, it's a very reputable company. They actually do work all over the United States. So I think it could have been an issue of just not being able to get to it. I'm not sure.
And that may, but I'm almost sure we talked about it before, right? I'm almost.
What options do we have? Just
One thing I would point out as the mayor,
Tourist attraction.
I would point out as the mayor said, I think at some point, like the swimming pool, we need to make the decision. You know, I've been through, what, 4 of these restorations, Charlie, plus the burn on the cabin. Yeah.
I guess it's the third.
Yeah, third in the burn. And again, I'm not opposed, but we just continually put money back into it and then wind up exactly where we are.
And that's,
right
I
now.
guess, that's why I'm coming before you all, because we'll do whatever that we need to do. I would like to get some direction. And I know this isn't a question you all can answer today. I absolutely know that. But we're just looking for some direction on where do we go, because we do get approached a lot by groups saying, well, why is this like this? Or when are you going to do this? Or we want to, plant flowers and do a lot of things around and spruce up the cabin. And I think that's all very, that's just the facade of it, whatnot. It doesn't address the main issue of structurally and what's going on with it. So it's more or less just looking to you all for a direction on what do we want to do.
What's the roof like?
Well, the roof is okay. We're not aware of any leaks or anything, and that was, of course, a new roof in 2010. So that should be pretty good to go. The biggest thing we've seen is that chinking in some
If
of the
we were
logs.
to consider, I mean, just in my opinion, if we were to consider, I don't think we've ever before, except this last renovation, really looked down the road. And 49,000, I would be curious as to what Mr. Mills or this American, what they could give us in terms of how long could we expect this thing
Sure.
before I've seen it happen 3 times.
That's
and equally-
absolutely information that we can dive deeper into. This is all very, like I said, very preliminary, just trying to get a bearing on what type of figure and work and all that we're looking at.
Other than people coming out, I see a lot of high school graduation photographs and maybe even engagement photographs or wedding pictures or whatever. Other than people using the cabin for a backdrop for pictures, what kind of popularity is there out there with people coming to the park to see the cabin?
I think it's very hit or miss. There's certain people that are, enthusiasts about the history of it and all that. And I think that's the people that you see out there. I don't think that you see people in droves coming out there on a constant basis to see it. But there are people that come out there from time to time. There's people that come to the office that say, hey, we want to go in and look at the cabin. We're not able to accommodate that because of the shape that it's in. And we don't have furniture in there because you can't keep it in there right now without it getting overtaken by the rodents and everything.
Except before your time, and Charlie will remember this, and so will the mayor, maybe Tony. During the summer, we used to have what we call a green shirt, it was a temporary, and we did that for 2 summers.
Right.
That's been 7, 8 years ago. We discontinued that during the summer because that person said there'd been 4 people over there.
Remember Will Johnson used to have volunteer
That's
bases
right.
set
There
out there
was
too
nobody-
to give tours.
We discontinued
well.
that because there was nobody. Sure. And like Councilman Chip said, there are a lot of people that take pictures of it outside for graduation and weddings and things like that, but actual going in or request to go in is very, very, very limited.
Yeah, it's definitely hit or miss.
Older cabins like this over at Hodgenville, are they enclosed? Are they inside of a building?
I think some of them are, but I can't answer to all of that. I've seen some that are actually in buildings and they're preserved, and this, because of it being exposed to the elements and the material that was used this time around, that's
It's going to be constant upkeep from now.
it is.
I would just propose, Seth, that, again, just speaking for myself, that number one, and we can't make a decision today. Right. That we just ask Andy, look, how long would that thing? And then number 2, that we, feel out in the community and, get the opinion, there.
Sounds good.
It's a money pit. It's been a money pit.
Absolutely.
It is, but in one sense, I think you're right. We got to figure out how do we get longer down the road. But the other side of that is if we don't, we wasted money in rebuilding.
That's exactly.
I think the mayor is right, that we should, if we got some more bids together, that we could certainly look and see if this is a partnership that we could work with tourism,
Yeah, that's,
to see if, in that seat. But it's funny because each guru tells us that they got the best product.
Sure.
As soon as we did last time, we didn't get very far down the road with it.
and like you say, Councilman Bowden, there is a historical marker out there in front of us.
Yes.
Anytime you go
Yeah.
tampering with that, you're opening yourself up for.
We spent a lot of money on that dig just to build that back.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all.
Charlie, are you familiar with the actual history of that building?
Which is the original manels up at Fort Knox, right? It's still in the officers club there.
So, I guess if we looked at if there's really any historic value now,
It's almost a record.
yeah.
Charlie, what's your thoughts on it?
Similar thing with other cabin out there for Sarah Bush Johnson. All those buildings are in dire need of renovation. And then when you look at some of the different historical societies that it seems like everyone's strapped for money. And so Fire Chiefs Association in charge of the schoolhouse, and they're having trouble getting enough funds together just to do the schoolhouse, with these green windows. Roof, you're looking at the same thing on these cabins. Probably said all the chinking needs to be removed. Now it's questionable as to some of the walls might need restoration. It's still all the work that's been done on the Sarah Bush Johnson cabin. Fix it the next day, young rapscallions come in, kick the door in, and so you've lost that much. Just a lot of money goes into a lot of things, and I know that the sad thing of it all is that we have just lost so much around here that is historic. Thank heavens, we have all the books and manuscripts and all that tell the history. And, we're at the point where people don't go out there, they don't use the cabin. It's very hard to justify $50,000 restoration to get a picture taken.
That's true.
Well, we're working with the retired teachers on the schoolhouse. The plan is to move the schoolhouse, so the new Parks building will go there. So we are, working with them. They were able to get a lot of supplies donated by Lowe's, an awful lot. And, so we're working with them to get that moved and get that taken care of. But this has come up. So I don't know, maybe we can talk with the folks at tourism and see, do they consider it a
That would help.
I'd be glad to have that conversation with them.
I thought you would. Thanks, Marty.
That's where you were going, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very, very
Learned to
much.
read yet, Robin.
Like a husband. Thank you, Marty. That was
You
a
cougar,
good-
you.
Yeah. What, you guys have any information to bring up? Okay. We're adjourned. Mr. Vance.
That was his name.
No, he was. Exactly, that's right. Is he still around?
Charlie, I'm almost sure.
Is he still around?
Yeah, they've got clay pigeons.
He did. He did. Yes. Is he still in,
Nice to meet you.
okay, he did it. He did the work. So what if you say to him, is there any? Would you mind?
Like for me to share those?
He did it. It's a lot of money.
Oh, stop short of saying, could we just give it away?
I'll be glad to. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
They were wonderful. They were like,
Marty, if you're